stories back. We are telling the story from our African perspective. And listen, no better people to do it than us telling our own stories. So based on the idea that Mugabe may have once sought therapy, there's a play that is now on the stage, okay? And it's an interesting look at the deeply human encounter between the late leader and a white psychiatrist, the late leader of Zimbabwe, that being Robert Mugabe, and a white psychiatrist. The result, a very tense, revealing conversation that explores power, trauma, and legacy in post-colonial Africa. There is a star-studded cast, might I add. There's Themba Daba as Mugabe himself. There's Khonze Ntsegang. There is Grace as Grace Mugabe. There is other wonderful people that our guest is going to tell us about. So without any further ado, we welcome on the upside. We've got Calvin Ratladi joining us, as well as Farai Chigudu, who are going to tell us a little bit more about this wonderful stage production. Welcome to the both of you. Welcome to Channel Africa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. I think perhaps let me start with you, Calvin. There is a very bold and very nuanced idea around Mugabe when I read a little bit of the synopsis of what the story is about. So psychology, Mugabe, therapist or psychiatrist, as I understand it. Please talk to us about that particular triangle, if I could call it that.
Okay. Thank you very much for hosting us for this conversation. What we are exploring here in this play, Breakfast with Mugabe, which is different from the European lands, was to look into it more as much as from a psychiatric perspective, but also to touch the nuances of being African and spiritual and be called into leadership.
You know what? I need to ask, I'm going to throw this one to you, Calvin. This book or this theatre production is based off the book by Fraser Grace titled Breakfast with Mugabe. It was released in 2005. Why did you feel that it was important to retell the story of Mugabe now in 2025?
Interestingly enough, I've been interested in telling this story for a while, but only now the time seemed to have been right and everything just aligned. I think we're dealing in a time where our leaders, global leaders, to be specific, are dealing with a lot of traumas, memory, and also understanding what leadership and humanity is. Yeah. And Breakfast with Mugabe is that kind of story that unfortunately looks into one of the leaders, but also it's a global commentary on leaders in general.
On leaders in general. I like that. I like that perspective.
Yes.
Farai, let's talk to you as one of the characters in this particular space, and of course stepping into this must be very loaded and emotional for you. So, preps for a character of this nature. Talk to us about how you prepared, and not just in your sort of isolation, but how you prepared considering the other characters and the other people that are going to be on stage with you, because theatre is a very different ball game. It's not like television. You actually have to come onto the stage with energy and understand that you're feeding off of each other. So preparation for that must have been very interesting.
Yes, I would like to thank Calvin, for giving me the opportunity to play the role. I, being a Zimbabwean, I come from a background of, I think, enough depth in terms of politics. Yeah. My own father went to war, and we were told stories back in the day, like this is how we got our independence and stuff like that. So when it comes to leadership, I've been following just the interest of where we are coming from and where we are going. It has always been a part of me, and I was excited to be part of this production in that sense. So preparation for me is like I've been preparing for years for something like this to come my way. So I was like, it'll be good if I played something which is close to home.
Calvin,
I can't say.
oh, so sorry about that, Farai. Calvin, let's talk about what the audience can expect. I know we are pressed for time, unfortunately. What can the audience expect from this production? We've said it earlier, how we have a specific narrative, or the Western culture, media has had a specific narrative about who Mugabe was. What can we expect to see on stage that may counter these narratives that were shared on media platforms?
I think more than any other thing, what they are going to experience and get to be challenged around is seeing Mugabe not only as the revered leader, but also as a man who went through a lot of experiences, and that made him to be who we now get to know as Mugabe. So I think more than any other thing is to not look at Mugabe from just that revered leader lens, but also understand his psychology and where he was in taking certain decisions.
This sounds amazing. I think for anyone that really is interested in Southern African leadership and history and how, and also, Calvin, as you say, just the spiritual elements of storytelling, I think it's very interesting. But from your perspective as an actor, Farai, please just give us just a few anecdotes, around just your personal learnings through playing Mugabe, because this is really... Possibly. Look, I don't know much about your catalog in terms of acting, but this must be one of the most interesting characters you've played. So talk to us about just some of the things that you've learned that maybe you can leave with us as we're about to check it out.
Okay. Basically, it's telling the story. It's inspired by true events as the writer wrote it. And just incorporating that and trusting my director, who's Calvin, with elements like that. I'm sure he explained like there was enough research which was done around it. It was easy for me to tackle that and bring it on stage, and also the feel of being home, and as a Zimbabwean, you want to tell it the right way. Like you just stressed in the beginning, like telling our own stories our own way, in that those particular details contributed so much. So you are coming to see something which is real. I can say that. It is bringing reality to life, which is something that I feel like, I was super comfortable in doing. You can also learn our culture in terms of what we do behind the scenes, or what he did behind the scenes, who he consulted, what he believed in as a man. It's something that you are going to also notice and take home with that.
And Calvin, as we wrap the conversation up, where can people access the theatre, the production, the dates, and where can they buy tickets?
Okay. We opened on the 16th of July, and we are running till the 10th of August. So the tickets can be purchased on web tickets. And we are doing well so far. So I'd encourage that people really get their tickets so that they avoid being disappointed at the later stage.
Oh, I love that. Calvin and Farai, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. We can't wait to see this production on stage, Breakfast with Mugabe. It's 30 minutes after 3 p.m. Central African time. Let's get the final sports with Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa.